In the quiet expanse of the library, time seemed to slow, the towering rows of wooden shelves standing sentinel, absorbing the soft whispers of history and the occasional rustle of turning pages. The only sounds were the faint murmurs of scattered readers, a group of elderly patrons at a round table in the fiction section, peering through reading glasses at well-worn paperbacks, a young man tapping lightly on his laptop in the corner, and two schoolgirls giggling softly over a fairy tale book in the children's area, their laughter muffled behind small hands. The air carried the comforting scent of aged paper and a hint of lemony cleaner, a testament to a space cherished and meticulously maintained. Eleanor stood behind the front desk, her wire-rimmed glasses resting low on her nose as she scanned returned books and sorted them for reshelving. Dressed in a soft blue cardigan over a collared shirt, a tiny silver pin shaped like an open book gleamed on her chest. Her graying hair was neatly tied into a bun, and her face radiated the serene confidence of someone who had spent 2 decades nurturing this haven of silence. She knew every regular by name, every genre's place on the shelves. This was her sanctuary, and she guarded its peace with quiet devotion. The door swung open with a jarring clang, shattering the stillness like a dropped glass. A gust of cold air swept in, followed by a woman whose presence was as loud as her entrance. Wrapped in a zebra print raincoat that hugged her frame, she left a trail of water dripping from her umbrella onto the mat. Her stilettos clacked sharply against the hardwood floor, each step a disruption to the library's gentle rhythm. Her auburn hair was piled high, her makeup bold and untouched by the rain, her lips of YYD coral. She was mid-conversation on her phone, her voice piercing. "I'm telling you, if they cancel my spa appointment again, I'll write a review so brutal it'll shut them down." Heads turned. Readers glanced up, eyes narrowing at the intrusion. Even the schoolgirls paused, exchanging glances. Eleanor's lips pressed into a polite but firm smile. She took a steadying breath, stepped out from behind the desk with practiced grace, and approached the woman, her footsteps silent. Stopping a few feet away, she waited briefly before leaning in and speaking softly. "Excuse me, could you please put your phone on silent? We try to keep things quiet for everyone." The woman Marissa, as her monogrammed bag declare, froze, then turned slowly, her eyes narrowing as if Eleanor had just committed a personal affront. One manicured brow arched high. "Are you kidding me?" she snapped, lowering her phone. "Hold on, some lady's trying to shush me." She glared at Eleanor. "Did you just whisper at me like I'm a kid?" Eleanor blinked, unruffled but firm. "Yes, ma'am. We maintain a quiet environment here. It's a shared space, and people are reading or studying." Marissa let out a sharp, incredulous laugh, scanning the room as if expecting an audience. "Unbelievable. I'm on one call, and this woman sneaks up to whisper at me like I'm in preschool. Who does that?" The library's gentle hum had vanished, replaced by a tense silence. Every eye was on them now. Eleanor remained calm. "I'm sorry if it felt abrupt, but we ask everyone to silence their phones. It's posted at the entrance." Marissa's eyes rolled dramatically. "Oh, so now we're in whisper jail? Is this a dictatorship?" Her voice rose, echoing off the walls. She raised her phone again. "You hearing this? They're shushing me like I'm a criminal." Eleanor took a small step back, her voice steady. "You're welcome to stay and read or use the computers, but phone calls need to be taken outside." Marissa's face twisted. "You're so rude," she spat, each word dripping with venom. "You think that name tag gives you power? I'm a taxpayer. I pay for this place. You work for me, got it?" Her words hung heavy in the air, ugly and sharp. Eleanor felt a familiar pang, not fear, but disappointment. She'd handled difficult patrons before, but Marissa's malice was deliberate, a need to dominate. Still, she offered one last olive branch, her voice a whisper. "Please, let's not make this bigger than it needs to be." But Marissa's eyes blazed, her grip tightening on her umbrella. The library, once a refuge, braced for the storm. Marissa's fury erupted like a dam breaking. "Do you all hear this?" she shouted, flinging her arm to address the silent onlookers. "I take one call, and I'm being humiliated like a child. This is harassment." Her voice shattered the library's calm, her chest heaving with theatrical outrage. Eleanor stood firm, her composure a quiet anchor. She'd faced confrontations before, but Marissa's rage felt rehearsed, weaponized. Before Eleanor could respond, Marissa's voice climbed higher. "You think that cardigan makes you better than me? Newsflash, I'm not the one Slav whining away in a dusty book tomb." I pay your salary, and I won't be treated like garbage. Eleanor's cheeks warmed, not with shame but disbelief. Behind Marissa, her coworker Lucas emerged from the back office, his eyes flickering with concern. An elderly patron near the large print novel stood, cane in hand, ready to step in. The room was taut, poised between resolution and chaos. Eleanor spoke softly, "Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but yelling disrupts everyone. If you feel disrespected, we can talk calmly at the desk." Marissa's laugh was shrill, her eyes darting for allies but finding none. "You're gaslighting me. Acting like I'm crazy when you're the one sneaking around like a ninja." Her voice hit a fever pitch. "I'm not part of your quiet cult, and I won't be treated like a nobody." Then, without warning, Marissa spun toward a nearby book cart, grabbed its handle, and heaved it over with a grunt. The cart crashed, books flying like startled birds, spines cracking, pages splaying. The metallic screech echoed, followed by gasps. A woman ducked behind her chair. A man muttered, "Oh my God." The schoolgirls froze, their fairy tale forgotten. Eleanor stood still, her mind catching up. Then, with practiced calm, she reached for her walkie. "Lucas, call the police. We have a disturbance." Marissa, panting, stood triumphant, as if expecting cheers. But the room was silent, judgmental. Phones emerged, cameras rolling. Her confidence wavered. "You're calling the cops? For what? Flipping a cart? That's not illegal. I pay for this place." Her voice cracked, the bravado fading. Eleanor said nothing, bending to pick up the scattered books. Others joined, a young man in a hoodie, the elderly woman with the cane, even a schoolgirl handing back a picture book. Together, they restored order, not with anger but with quiet defiance. Marissa stood alone, her righteous mask slipping. "I'm filming this," she declared, but her voice was weak, the thread hollow. Outside, sirens approached, cutting through the rain. The sirens grew louder, weaving through the drizzle, casting a tense anticipation over the library. Inside, the silence was heavy, laced with embarrassment and unease. Marissa stood at the center, arms crossed, foot tapping nervously, her phone no longer filming. Her earlier bravado had crumbled under the weight of glares and silence. Eleanor, composed but shaken, stacked books back onto the cart with care. Lucas worked beside her, his jaw tight with restraint. Patrons settled into a wary stillness, their eyes flicking up from books, conversations hushed. The schoolgirls whispered in a corner, sneaking glances at Marissa, while the elderly woman by the door stood sentinel, her face unreadable. Marissa paced, her heels clicking anxiously, muttering about lawsuits and injustice. Her glares at Eleanor lacked their former sting, her performance now a solo act without an audience. Two officers entered, brushing rain from their shoulders. The male officer, clipboard in hand, approached the desk, while the female officer's sharp gaze landed on Marissa. Eleanor recounted the incident calmly, Marissa's loud call, her refusal to quiet down, the cart flipping, her voice steady, Lucas nodding in confirmation. Patrons stood ready to corroborate. Marissa interjected, arms flailing. "I want to file a complaint. This woman harassed me with her whispering. She humiliated me." Her voice was desperate, her phone waved futilely. The male officer raised a hand. "Ma'am, please. We're assessing the situation." The female officer stepped forward. "We've heard consistent accounts. This is a disturbance of the peace, including shouting and damaging property." Marissa's face fell. "I didn't damage anything. It was an accident." The officer glanced at the dented cart and bent books. "That cart didn't flip itself. Step outside with us." Marissa hesitated, seeking support but finding none. With a dramatic huff, she followed the officers into the rain. The door closed, and the room exhaled. A few clapped softly. Eleanor sank onto a stool, whispering, "Finally." Outside, the rain intensified, blurring the VYEW of Marissa climbing into the cruiser, her defiance wilted. Inside, the library hummed with whispered conversations, patrons processing the spectacle. Eleanor stroked a book spine, replaying the confrontation. Lucas brought her tea, their silent teamwork grounding the space. An officer returned, confirming Marissa's warning for disorderly conduct and temporary ban. He praised Eleanor's professionalism. She nodded, grateful for the resolution. The afternoon passed quietly, patrons offering small kinnesses, a cookie, a kind word. As the rain eased, the library emptied, and Eleanor logged the incident with care, ensuring the record was clear. Alone, she savored the silence, the sanctuary restored. The next morning, sunlight filtered through wet leaves as Eleanor arrived early. The library was pristine, the chaos erased. Lucas greeted her with a knowing nod, and patrons brought flowers and chocolates, their support unspoken but profound. The library's rhythm returned, children whispering, adults browsing, the air clean and calm. A hearing was set for Marissa's band, backed by patron statements and the officer's report. A journalist offered to write about the incident was politely declined. Eleanor wanted no spotlight, only peace. A new display, stories of serenity, drew smiles, and the week passed smoothly, Marissa's ripple fading. On Sunday, a shy teen asked, "Were you scared?" Eleanor paused. "Not scared. Sad. Sad someone thought this place wasn't worth respecting." The girl nodded, checking out her book. As closing neared, Eleanor flipped the sign to closed, the desk lamp casting soft shadows. The silence was rich, earned. Outside, the sunset glowed, the damp pavement reflecting light. Eleanor breathed deeply, the post-storm air clean. The library was hers again, quiet on her terms.